Lesson 8, Light and Shadows. Look at the pictures given below. Put a tick against the object that emit their own light and cross against the rest. Student, there are some pictures here and you have to tick on that object, on that picture which have their own light, and you have to cross that object or picture which don't have their own light. Okay. Now the first picture is sun. You know the sun gives us light. It have its own light, so you have to put a tick on it. Second is diamond. It does not have its own light, so you have to cross it. Third is moon. We know it does not have its own light, so you have to cross it. Now bulb, you have to tick. This is cross. This is, you have to tick this one. This is fireflies, you have to tick on it. This is bowl, so you have to cross it. Student, these work you have to do only in your science book. This work you have to do in your science book only. Now you have to open page number 84, transparent, translucent and opaque objects. Today we have to know about transparent, translucent and opaque objects. We already know that light helps us to see things present around us. Student, we know light helps us to see the things properly which is present around us. With the help of light, we can see the things properly. When light falls on an object, it gets reflected from the object and enters our eyes to form an image of that object. When light falls on an object, it gets reflected, means send back light from that object, and after that it enters our eyes to form an image of that object. Different objects allow different amount of light to pass through them, while some objects do not allow light to pass through them. There are different types of objects around us. Some objects have allowed to light pass through them, but there are also some objects which don't allow light to pass through them. Based on these properties, objects are classified as transparent, translucent and opaque. Let us study about them one by one. Transparent objects. There are some objects which allow the light to pass through them. These objects are called transparent. Students, there are some objects which allow the light to pass through them. So these objects are called transparent objects. For example, clear glass, clean water, air, etc. Translucent objects. There are some objects which allow only some light to pass through them. These objects are called translucent. There are also some type of objects which allow lights, only some light, don't all lights, they allow only some light to pass through them. So these objects are called translucent. For example, dirty water, tracing paper, muslin cloths, colored glass, etc. Now we have to know about opaque objects. There are some objects which do not allow light to pass through them. They are called opaque objects. There are also some type of objects which do not allow light to pass through them. So that type of objects are called opaque objects. For example, book, paper, duster, wooden chair, steel, plate, etc. Now we have to know about shadows. You must have seen people sitting under the shade of a tree during a sunny day. The shade of the tree is actually the shade of the tree. Shadow of the tree. The shade of the tree is actually the shadow of the tree. Shadow are black or grey patches which are formed by objects when light travelling in straight line is blocked by these objects. Student, you all know shadows are black or grey in color and it is formed by objects when light is travelling in a straight line and it is blocked by these objects. Now we have to know about conditions required for the formation of the shadow. There are three things needed for a shadow to form. The first is a source of light. Second, an opaque or translucent object. Third, a screen for the shadow to form on it. In this diagram, this is source of light, this is object, and this is screen where shadow form on the screen.